Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Costume Co. And we're doing another costume designer interview. Today with me, I have the costume designer for season 4 of The Diplomat, which is right up there. Her name is Jenny Gering. She is a bit of a rock star, and I'm very delighted to finally get to meet you and have you on my show. So thanks so much for coming.
Thank you. I mean, I feel great already. What an
By the
intro.
way, I didn't ask you before we started. Whereabouts are you in the world right now?
I am in the beautiful NYC,
Oh,
my
wonderful. So
home. Yeah.
just north of me. I'm just north of you. I mean, I'm in Toronto, so
Oh,
we're not
love
too far
Toronto.
away. I always love to. It's nice to sort of have know where everyone is, and on this
Yeah.
international stage, it's such a smaller world now. But anyway, so Jenny, before we get started, I just wanted to ask you, maybe you could just tell me a little bit about yourself. And if for those who don't know you, I know I didn't have that in the questions, but maybe just as a little warm up, we could do that. Do you mind telling everyone a little bit about yourself and maybe how you kind of got interested in costumes?
Well, I'm a costume designer, and I always tell younger people that if you're confused in your 20s, don't worry, because I was confused until very late 20s. And I started out as a stylist doing commercials, and I started out assisting, and it was a revelation for me because it just made me realize that all of the disparate skills that I thought were just fun little bits and parts of my personality could actually turn into a career. And once I realized that, it was just go, So that was really, I think I was about 28, and I realized that all the things that I'm good at that I never thought amounted to a whole really did. And so I didn't go to school, which I wish I had known what I wanted to do a bit earlier, because sometimes I do miss that knowledge. But I've done okay. So
Amazing. Well, you're taking your skills that you've learned and you're applying them. And I have a lot of designers who've come out of fashion. So that's sort of like,
Mm,
it seems like a natural progression.
yeah,
By the way, I believe I said season 4, I meant season 3. So
that's right.
yeah. Okay. So by the way, this show is so bingeable, like super bingeable. I binged the first 2 seasons and, third season, boom, 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 quite quickly. But now tell me a little bit how you got involved, because it sounds like, from what I read, that you came in for season 3. So you sort of took over. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's right. It happens. Previous designers are have other commitments, and there's sometimes a very long span in between seasons, and so things come up. But I stepped in, and it was a whirlwind because they were shooting in London, where I'd never worked, and it wasn't bringing any of my usual crew. So it was a big adventure for me. And I knew one of the producers, and I've worked with Keri and Rufus before. So I thought, okay, it'll be a challenge, but it'll be fun, and I'll be amongst friends, and which it turned out to be one of the best decisions I've ever made. I had the most brilliant crew in London. They just welcomed me with open arms. They held my hand through anything I didn't understand or know, because working in London, we all work in film. There is a consistency to it, but they have different names for things over there. The costume department runs a bit differently. So there was a learning curve, but that's how it began. And I did 3 months in London, and it was a blast. It was just, it's a different experience when you walk into a show that already has established looks for the characters. um, but there's always room, I think, to bring your own point of view, and that was really what I wanted. When I interviewed for the job, I said, there are certain things that I would like to do, maybe transition some of the costumes into maybe different silhouettes, still maintaining the look of the characters, because that would be you don't want a jarring change that will distract the viewer. But it worked out beautifully. I was able to say what I had to say without really disrupting the flow.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, a question for you. So even the US scenes, were those also done in London?
It was, the editing was so seamless.
Wow, because I had no idea.
Some of the London scenes were shot in New York.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
yeah, honestly, sometimes it gets so muddled. And then, it's a few months later when I see it. I was watching season 3 and I forgot that the editing was so good that to me, it felt so seamless.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So now you've worked with Keri Russell before. She's our star. And on The Americans. So what was that like to revisit that relationship? Like you already had an established relationship, and I didn't know about Rufus, so
Yeah,
those two.
it honestly, it's part of why I love this job so much. It was, it was as though we had seen each other the day before. We just fell right back into that easy, good communication. Keri, I mean, we could spend the entire podcast talking about how much I adore her. But yeah, we have a very, we have a good rapport in that we just understand each other. She knows that I've got her back, that my goal is to keep the look grounded in reality, but also being aware that this is a TV show, and I want all the actors to look great, if it works for the character. So she trusts me, and Rufus as well. It was interesting because when Rufus and I worked on Kaleidoscope, he wore a lot of suits. It was a very different character, but we already had that language of, I know how clothes fit him. So it was really very easy transition.
Yeah, and there's such a nice contrast between Hal and Kate. She's a little bit I don't know, I want to be very polite. She's a little bit messy sometimes. He's always so perfect. He's just yeah, exactly. So it's just I love that contrast. He wears suits very well, by the way. Yeah. So
yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And then Keri appears to not wear her clothes as well.
The thing is, Keri, that's a challenge because Keri wears clothes so well that sometimes in seasons 1 and 2 they would use the costumes to get that point across, like the yogurt stain on her trousers and that sort of thing. But
I think she had a paper clip or something at one point. She had to
with
use
her zipper.
Her hack.
That's right. It was a good hack.
It is a good hack. Yeah.
But I feel like hair and makeup take the brunt of the work there because it's, and I'm not trying to be flattering, but Keri just does walk into anything. Things look beautiful on her. So we can make her look a little messy, but the fit, and this is what I love about costume design, because if the directive was to make her look uncomfortable, then I would take that to the next level. And with tailoring, I would adjust the fit of the clothing so that it would help her physically be uncomfortable. And that would help get that point across. But it doesn't go to that level. It's really just that she's a bit disheveled, and we've all heard about the crazy hair and all that stuff. So
yeah, exactly. Well, they even make a funny point about it with one of the security. They asked
April. That was so much fun.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That was so fun. She just doesn't say a word because she can't. Now, so this is an enormous ensemble cast, and so and although it sounds like you were mostly in London, but the story takes place over a couple of continents, right?
That's right.
So how did you balance the workload? Did you have assistants to help? Did you do a divide and conquer? Yeah. So what was your approach?
Yeah. I mean, I hope people don't think it's just me in a room. I can't even sew, to be clear.
A lot of designers can't sew.
Many can't, which makes me feel a bit better about it. But no, we have an enormous team. Our London crew, I believe we had our core crew was maybe 16 to 20 people. And then when we have larger days with a lot of background, we have people come in to help. So, we have and same with New York. It's about the same size. So there are 2 assistants, there are tailors, there are costume supervisors. I mean, it's really a huge undertaking and requires a lot of skilled people to make it happen. So, and then, but both crews, I've never felt so fortunate. Both the London crew and the New York crew, best crews I've ever worked with. So just from the personalities to the skill level to the enthusiasm, it's an absolute joy. It's hard work, but I love going to work on this job, which is pretty rare.
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, like I know you did a lot of tailoring. Did you do any builds as well, or is it mostly shop
Mostly
ship?
builds.
Okay.
Mostly builds, which was
Really?
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Wow, so amazing. Like her white
Yeah.
dress, for instance. Did you guys build that?
I'm sorry.
Her Kate's white dress, like this one. Was that a
No,
build?
that
Or?
dress, I love that dress.
That's
And
like my favorite in the show.
it's had such a beautiful response. And I
Mhm.
mean, she walked into it. It was the first dress she tried on. Our showrunner, Debora, asked for something in a lighter color, cream.
Mhm.
And so, of course, we had 15 cream dresses to try. But this one, we tried this one and we thought, why waste time and try anything else? But of course we did. But no, this dress came from Totem, and they do it in different fabrications. But
It looks like it's bias cut though, like sort of like
yes, it's
I like it sort of sits like it fits where you want it to fit, and then it
that's right.
flares where you want it to flare.
It's very, very special.
I loved
So,
it. I have
yeah,
a question about that after that I can get
sure.
back to you about. Okay.
Yeah,
So, okay, let's so I wanted to talk a little bit about Kate. So she's got, we were talking about a bit of her hair and her, she's a little bit no nonsense.
yes.
So how did you navigate between her like, her day look, her diplomat looks that she wears, sort of understated, no nonsense. She likes suits, she likes dark colors because if she gets some mustard on it or something. But then you also have her like diplomatic looks that she wears when she goes to an evening event or a gala or something.
Yeah.
So I have some pictures of those if we want to look at it, anything.
Well, it's actually the fun part of that is that it's been made very clear. Kate does not choose her diplomatic
Mhm.
dresses. In fact, in this episode, she specifically asks for something simple. And this is what they chose for her.
Which cracks me right up.
I know, but it also had to work with the script, which called for her having trouble getting it on and off, and working the zipper. So yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's on the page, which is
Mhm.
incredibly helpful for a costume designer when it says Kate, is wearing a sequin dress. I can go with that and find the perfect one. So yeah, it's understood that she's not choosing her gala dresses, which makes it much simpler, because imagine if Kate were choosing her dresses, be a whole other thing. Yeah, so it's a chance to, it gives us a chance to have fun and show off and, show how gorgeous Keri is.
Mm-hmm. I love this picture, by the way. I don't think it might have been in the show, but I feel like it might be
No,
a
I
still.
think it's a still.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like because there you can actually see the drape on that gorgeous dress she's wearing.
Yeah, that was special.
So by the way, so about the sequin dress, did you actually find an American designer for that?
Sadly, we did not.
Okay.
Sadly, we did not. I wish I could say that we did, but the dress was Max Mara. And, sometimes the magic of TV, you've got to take your creative license and make it work. So
what I love about that whole part, it really does a wonderful job in the storytelling. First off, she's, struggling to get into it. And then later she finds herself isolated. She's alone. Like I was thinking about this. I'm like, she doesn't really have family. She doesn't really have friends. So she relies on one of these, the security people to have to get her out of it. So I thought that was a wonderful bit of storytelling.
It was beautiful. It really, illustrated what's going on with she and Hal. And yeah, that's exactly right. She is alone. And
Now, regarding some of her day suits though that she wears, like I've got some pictures here. Like, do you go to any particular designers for her or?
Well, so I actually built that suit.
Oh, you did. Oh
I
my
did.
gosh. Wow.
So from her, from the time that she becomes second lady,
Mhm.
it seemed like a good chance for me to bring in some of the ideas that I was sort of mulling over in
Mhm.
terms of silhouette
This is the same
and
outfit here, I think.
yeah, in terms of silhouette and uh, sort of the fabrics. I wanted to bring in, I wanted to upgrade Kate's look because she now has a different role. And I also thought it would be fun to incorporate more drape into the suiting. She does so much walking and talking, and it seemed like a missed opportunity to, show her elegance and
Mhm.
her uh, just her refinement, if we didn't change the suiting fabrics. And so I actually purchased these when I was in London
Mhm.
at the most amazing fabric store. Um, and I was very intent on having a very tactile feel, uh, sort of quiet luxury fabric. So they're mostly it's cashmere blends, cashmere silk, so that there's a touch of sheen to it without being shiny. Instead of working with a flatter fabric like a gabardine, which will just soak up the light,
Mhm.
something that would be a little bit more reflective, and just show that she's has a different station at this point, and that she's willing to play the part.
Yeah, and uh, I I was mentioning that the color palette when sorry, I've lost my train of thought here. Apologies.
I
I'll
know.
edit that out. Sorry, what happened there? So yeah, so there's a clear shift in her wardrobe though. Okay, so her and Hal are now separate, and we have a time jump. Like I think it's 6 months, and then suddenly we see her in that white dress. So you said that I think that was in the script, or this was a an ask or a request. But was this explained to you why we have this? Is
Of
it because she's
course.
in love, or what's the idea there?
She is light as a feather. She
Mhm.
has a whole new attitude. She's happy. She feels unencumbered, and she's making her own choices. And so it really was meant to reflect this place that she's arrived. And uh, you know, it's just a completely different vibe. Um, from when she was Mrs. Hal Wyler, where it was so fraught.
Mhm.
Um, and so it was really just about, wanting to explore that. She's feeling great. She feels like a teenager. So,
Mhm. Yeah, there's that one scene where Hal walks in, she doesn't know he's there, and she's beaming, right? And then she sees him, and whoop, the whole thing drops. By the way, also we had that flashback scene, which was really interesting because they didn't
yes,
de-age Keri, or I don't believe they did.
no,
So you just sort of went with it, like trusted that the audience could kind of understand what's happening there. So I think this might be from or maybe this is just her running.
no, this was just, this was not the flashback.
Okay, I have it here. Let me find it. Sorry, give me a
It
moment.
would be, if,
She's wearing a T-shirt, I think.
yes, that's right. They're in a bar, sort of a bar environment. Um,
Uh, let me find it. Oh, here. I think it's this one.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is when they're meant to be in the Mideast,
Mhm.
and based on um, a real place, which I'm of course blanking on the name of it. It'll come to me.
Sure.
But so she's, there's dust everywhere. There was really important to get that gritty vibe across. That it's hot,
Mhm.
that it is dusty, that the people who are there are really committed to their jobs, and you know uh, are there for the long haul. And yes, that was a good point, that they didn't de-age her, which I appreciated. We just went with telling the story. And like you said, knowing that people would understand. It's, exploring when she and Hal first got together. So yeah, it was meant to be, I think, late 90s.
Sorry, I just have to. Sorry, I'll remove that now. Yeah, because I was wondering, because I think it's supposed to be, well, it's before they got married, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, so that must have been kind of fun a little bit to visit, first off, an exotic locale, but also, sort of think about where they would have been at that time. She still is no nonsense. She looked a bit like, to me, like she worked at Quantico or something.
That's exactly it. I mean, she's
Quantico.
the same person, and that's really important. I think the audience will pick up on if, the character isn't consistent in terms of their choices, and also that's part of costume design, is telling that story. She may be wearing different types of clothes, but it's the same person choosing them. So it's not going to have a lot of color. It's not, it's the same thing. She's wearing black pants. Why? Because she's going to spill something on them. This is probably where she came up with that notion. Oh yeah, black pants work for me. So
yeah, absolutely. So now, I know we've touched on the silhouettes and tailoring and so on, but you, according to the notes, it looked like you referred to, you were inspired by actual political figures. So such as Samantha Power, who I had to look up, and then the UK ambassador. I'm not sure, was that Jane Hartley?
It was Jane Hartley, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So did you want to tell me a little bit about how that sort of helped you?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Samantha Power was the first person who I looked up. She was the UN ambassador. And her vibe was very similar to Kate Wyler's, and I really used her mostly as the inspiration because she wasn't trying to mask her femininity or, she just kept it, as you said, no nonsense, because she was there to do her job. And so it was a really good reference. There are some photos of Samantha Power looking, slightly sassy, with some lower necklines, and which I loved. She's, like I said, she's not trying to dress like a man. She's just trying to, not have it be about her clothes, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, and based on the show, it seems like their days are really long. So sometimes you're going to be like, unlike someone like us who might have, well, maybe not you, Jenny, because your days are long too, but the average person, will go to work, come home, can change, and then, and then go to bed kind of thing. Whereas these people seem to work super long days. They're in these clothes for long periods of time.
That's right. I think that's such a good point. And, they do need to feel functional and self-sufficient, not too delicate. She's always in boots, a low-heeled boot, so that she can be on the go and run and do whatever she needs to do and still be comfortable. The silk shirts that I choose for her have a weight to them. They're appropriate and lovely, but they're not too delicate. So this was, I think, this was from this season, but the clothes were from season. That's the fun thing about this show. Things carry over.
Yeah, for sure. So she's not throwing out her whole wardrobe. Like she's still, you're going to implement some of the pieces.
Well, no, this was actually literally the timeline went from the end of season 2 and started moments later.
Yeah, because Hal, spoiler alert, has killed the president.
Accidentally,
I'm kidding. No, but I know. So yeah, it picks up right away. So obviously you had to establish the continuity there.
So the continuity carried straight over, which was actually great, because when I first started, it was like, well, episode 1 is mostly just their costumes from the previous season. It was like, oh, gives me a moment to catch up. But yeah, the days are very long, but there are a few days in the scripts. It's not like over a very long span of time.
Exactly. Yeah. So now, aside from Kate, so your color palette, it's very specific to each character and their personality. So how do you use fabrics and textures? Like I know you mentioned with Kate, you kind of had a little bit of luster in there. So for some of them, are you doing more shiny? Some of them are more matte. Like I was like, for instance, looking at Billy, who, by the way, her style, I love it. Like probably of any of them, that would be the one that I would be drawn to. Like I just
Oh,
yeah,
that's
like this is probably how I would want to dress. Like I love her style.
yeah. It's funny. People really love her closet.
Mhm.
I do too. I mean, I would be thrilled to have it. She, um, she's very obviously very professional, but I like that she maintains her own sense of style.
Mhm.
She keeps her individuality, with her jewelry, with her, she is, she's a beautiful, Nana is so beautiful. And so it's fun to be able to dress her to, you know, um, in the most flattering way. And in some cases, like this wrap dress, really show how gorgeous she is.
Oh, I love this wrap dress, and then the boots as well.
The boots came in because they're meant to be at Chequers,
Mm.
the country home of the British Prime Minister. So it's like sort of like their Camp David. So the boots came in because they're quotes in the country. Um, uh, but yeah, I like doing a peplum on her. Uh,
Mhm.
Once you sort of find silhouettes that work for people,
Yeah.
you find that you stick with them. Peplums work beautifully on Nana. It also works as sort of like a shirt jacket, and that way I don't have to put her in a suit all the time, which is nice. Um, I love putting her in a pencil skirt just because there's a strictness to it, but it's also kind of sexy. Um, and yeah, so that's sort of where that came from.
Yeah, and what about I want to make sure I say her name correctly. But what about Idra?
Oh,
Idra.
Hydra. Yeah.
Yeah. She so I mean she's also she's on the job a lot. So
Yes.
do you want to tell me a little bit? But I always laugh at her every time I look at a picture. She's like slouching or lying, half sitting kind of thing. I was laughing about that, looking at some of her pictures.
Well, it's Allie. Allie on is
Mhm.
just adorable. And
Mhm.
she is so natural and so at ease in her body. And that comes across in the way that I choose her costumes. I'll typically put her in knits under her suits
Mm.
because, um, yeah, I find that, shirts or blouses don't feel right. They're too stiff.
Mhm.
And, she is on the go. She's an action person. And so I like the way that knits hug her, but I never want anything that's going to be. Allie is incredibly fit. And I try to soften that a touch because I don't want
Sorry.
things that will feel too hard. Her suits are they're wool gabardine, so the material is kind of flat and very structural. Her lines are very linear,
Mhm.
so it's nice to put something softer underneath that will have a little bit of drape and movement to counter that. And it's fun also because we get to do some colors on her, which is,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, like here when she's having her meeting, she's wearing sort of burgundy, I guess. Like when she's
burgundy.
having
She
her
has, yeah,
fighting for
she
her
has a
job.
gorgeous green suit. She has
Mm.
an eggplant suit. And this season, we're working on season 4. So I'm also, I'm going to have some new suits built for her, and I'm going to, bring in some more color for her. It's just
Mhm.
nice. There's the green suit.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I like that balance for her.
But what about what about President Penn? That must have been so fun to do. I've got lots of pictures of
Wow.
her.
Yeah. Let's get
Yeah.
into that.
So let me grab some pictures here. Did I call her Penn?
Did you-
I tried to label them. Oh, here's one of her and Hal. I'll try and find some
Yes.
other ones here.
Yes.
Oh, I called her Grace. That's why. By the way, the pictures are really small if you're wondering why I can't find them. Okay, here we are. I've got this one of her and
Yeah.
Todd. By
Yeah.
the way, these two are so hilarious together.
There's, I mean, it's hard to keep a straight face
Yeah.
on set because they're so funny.
There's this one scene where he closes the light on her in the bathroom, and I laugh because I'm like, that's the type of thing my husband would do. And I'd be like, hello, I'm in here. It was
It's so good.
such a married thing, right? So here's some of her like more kind of casual at the
Yeah.
I guess
So
this is there's
this was during their weekend at her country place in Amagansett, and so
which is gorgeous, that pool.
so stunning. And again, it's really just about maintaining who the character is, and putting them in a different situation, because very often we never see them outside of the world that we know. So what do you do when they're not in that world? You know, who are they? So it's really maintaining the through line of who is Grace Penn when she's relaxing, when she's not, you know, in the Oval. And so it was very similar, you know, very rich fabrics, very similar color palette, muted tones, some earth tones. But, you know, to use
And then
the
I've got
phrase,
some of her, you know, her on duty, which I love, by the way. I love the neckline on that blouse, which maybe it's this one. I'm not sure if it's the same one or a different one. I love that neckline.
I believe it's the same one. This was during the funeral episode.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, these are her jammies. So you remember, like, what would the president wear to bed? I mean, she's very elegant. Even her, you know, like, I mean, yeah, absolutely. And then even in season 2, there's a whole point about her doing the blow dry, the blowout. What do they call that? I'm not sure. And then just, you know, criticizing Kate's look. So just, you know, she has to be put together. But this one though, for me was, whoa, absolutely love this.
So much fun.
That was gorgeous. Did you have a bedazzler on set doing
it? It almost got to that point. So it was a Jenny Packham dress that had all of the embellishment was on the sides. And which was exquisite, but
absolutely.
A lot of the action took place at a dinner table where you're head on and you won't really get to see that. So the decision was made to add some of the same crystals from the dress to the front. And Jenny Packham, they were so kind that they sent us an additional dress so that we could use the same crystals, the same Swarovski crystals, and continue the theme over onto the front, which was really helpful.
I absolutely loved it. And I loved it because I think she's the only one wearing any kind of beading or crystals. And whereas, you know, we've got Kate is in this beautiful sort of like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's sort of like with the designer, Charles James. I don't know who the designer is.
Oh, it does feel like that.
You know, with a beautiful flowing cape, but very simple. And then, you know, we have Dennison's wife, sorry.
Yes.
With the beautiful floral. So I love that nice contrast. And also that President Penn did a long sleeve, which I sort of can understand. Someone maybe of her age, she might be like, I don't want to do a no sleeve.
Well, I think it's a combination of things. It's that, but it's also meant to be winter in England. So, you know, it felt perfectly appropriate, you know, to the moment. But it's a good example of, you know, how do you separate and keep 6 people looking like individuals when they're wearing very similar articles of clothing. You know, for the men, they all wore different styles of tuxedo shirt and of bow tie. And, you know, you can't just forget who they are. You have to maintain the character that's been established throughout.
Yeah, there's Hal in his tux. He's got just a very nice pocket square, nothing too fancy.
That's right.
I love that very simple elegance. His style is just, I mean, I'm assuming there's people probably online who are aspiring to be Hal, like the way he dresses.
If I were a man, I would, I mean, honestly, it's, he really, I mean, it helps that Rufus can wear anything and look good. But that was a big transition. You know, Hal came on this assignment to be the, you know, Mr. Ambassador,
Mhm.
the ambassador's husband, and really did it his own way. I don't think he ever wore a tie, or maybe once in the previous seasons. And he had great style, but he really did his own thing. When he became the vice president, that all went out the window. He had an agenda that he had to get across, and he had to play ball. And that meant dressing like, kind of like everyone else.
Here he
So,
is. Here he is. By the way, he does take off his tie if he's at sort of something more casual
oh,
like this, I
sure.
guess, right? Or
Yeah, of
when he's in the
course.
room and they're private, private.
Absolutely.
This scene, by the
Absolutely.
way, cracked like again,
Oh,
hilarious,
so
so
good.
funny. Yeah, and
So
then they just ended up with some dry pretzels.
good.
There were no there were no oysters coming.
Yeah, none to be had.
Yeah, here's another one here with him and President Penn. Oh, by the way, and I was going to ask you about that whole decision regarding Grace Penn with the, I guess you call it a fashion emergency, a
Oh, yes.
fashion, you know, she needed to, so that was kind of a fun little thing. How did you come up with the idea of Kate? It was that in the script, taking Kate's top
Yeah,
and
I
stamping
wish I
it
could.
and
Yeah, I
plagiarizing
wish I could take credit for that, but
it? Okay.
it was in the script, and it was Debora Cahn all the way. And we just had to figure out how to do it and make it look good. But it was so much fun to do. And honestly, we tried different pieces of fabric to drape, and it came down to we just used a real sports top, and it worked. And it's one of the best hacks ever.
It's so fun. What kind of
Yeah.
clips were those that Kate uses to fasten?
She
She
tucked it
kinda
into her bra strap.
Oh, she did it into the bra strap. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
so clever. And she had this thing sitting in the bottom of her drawer for gosh knows how long.
Well, she worked out, she's a runner,
Yeah.
so, she had her workout stuff in there.
Mhm. It's so fun. Now, according to the show notes, so you worked with a bunch of different designers. Were there any specific designers that you like going to? Like, for instance, Cement. Did you go to Brooks Brothers? Like, that's sort of the classic.
Yes, of course, Brooks
Yeah.
Brothers is a big help.
Mhm.
I will
But
say it's a lot more challenging now than it would have been 5 years ago, because suiting has become so scarce in the stores.
Oh, wow. And
People
you
don't
need
wear
multiples,
suits.
right? You need multiples of
Of
these things
course,
sometimes.
but
Yeah.
even just finding different types of suits, we're shopping for so many people. And I think that's also part of why I built Hal's suits and Kate's suits and Grace Penn's suits, because I couldn't find what I wanted. So I made them.
Mhm.
Um, it was really the only way to do that. But yeah, since COVID, there's a lot less suiting around. And so it's made it very
Interesting.
challenging.
Yeah, I had the costume designer Sarah on for a talk about Severance, and they did the same thing. They made all the suits. Now that is a sort of hyper realized world, but she found the same thing. She's like, I can't find what I want. And you know what? It
Yeah.
makes it so much easier for you because then you can have what you want.
If you have the manpower for it, it
Mhm.
is. And honestly, it's about the same cost.
Isn't that
One
crazy?
to one, yeah, and it's perfect. It's built for the actor. It's a joy to do.
I have to ask you about Dennison as well, by the way,
Sure.
like big fan favorite. I loved him in Carnival Row, by the way. I don't know if you've seen that show, but he was
No, I should
amazing.
check that out.
It's a fantasy show. And but anyway, one of the things I noticed about him is not in these pictures here, but you oftentimes have him in three-piece suits. Is he the only character in three-piece suits?
Yes, he is the only character, and that was something that had already been established in the
Mhm.
previous seasons. So, we didn't want to make that change, so we maintained it, and it worked well. It was, worked well for the character and for the story, so it was not hard to keep.
Yeah, and then whereas the prime minister, he always wears braces, as they
Yes.
call them in England, right? Is he the only one who wears braces? Is
Well, yes, yes, he is.
yeah.
Um, but again, it works for the character.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's that public school raised, very conservative guy. He comes from a specific place, and so it makes sense for who he is.
Absolutely. And what about Stuart? Stuart doesn't get a
Oh,
lot of attention. I love Stuart. Actually, I love the contrast that you have between the soft suits that are worn by Edra and then his, which like he's very, I don't want to say he's uptight, but he's very professional, right? I don't know. How would you describe Stuart?
I think that Stuart, yes, he can be uptight, and I think he expresses himself through his clothing. So he's very by the book. He is very regimented in his professional life and his personality, but his in his clothing choices, he's a bit of a dandy, and I love that. And that just makes it fun. So his shirts have a lot more color. His ties are fun. He wears pocket squares. He always wears a fun coordinated sock to go with the look.
Oh yeah, there was one picture I saw. Oh, I don't know if I can find it, where he's sitting, and I was like, "What's going on?" Like they look like almost like a nude sock, but maybe there was a pattern on them.
Yes, they're sort of a very pale pink.
A pale pink. I thought that was great. I love that. And because it's fun when the actors are sitting and then their pant leg rises up a bit. And you're like, oh, that's sort of fun.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of people. What I love about it is that a lot of people in real life, that's how they express themselves. They may be shy or but they let their clothing do the talking for them. And in this case, that's what Stuart's doing, I think.
Now, before I let you go and wrap up, I just want to ask you briefly about Callum, because he's a new character this season. And so you get to start from scratch with this one.
Yeah.
And of course, the Redditors are all going crazy about making with the theories, right? Well, here's one of him, a solo of him.
Oh, what a heartthrob.
Oh, totally. Yeah. He's been doing well with the gentleman.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Here's the one where, this is her fake. Oh, Hal, you're here.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
he was great.
Yeah. So were there any, did you make his suits, or were there any British designers that perhaps you went to for him? Or
we did not build his suits, and they were mostly shopped, but there weren't any specific designers. It was more about the mix and match to get the character across. And for the most part, I liked him in separates. I think he wears one suit when she runs into him at the when she's going to see.
Yeah, he's wearing this isn't it.
No, he's wearing a suit when she runs into him at near Dennison's office.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yes.
But for the most part, he's separates. When others might wear a tie, he doesn't wear a tie, which is sort of reminiscent of another man that Kate knows. So maybe she has a type. Yeah,
that's interesting. Yes, for sure. So before we wrap this up, I just so you are in the process. I was told that process is a Canadian thing.
It's very Canadian.
You're in the process of doing season 4. Did you kind of try to line it all up together, or did you just go, okay, we're doing season 3, then we get the approval, we're doing season 4? How did that all work?
Oh no, you would never be able to do them concurrently because we don't have scripts. So we're in the dark just like everyone else.
Oh, you are. So you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, we do once we start working on it. But while we're on season 3, we don't know. Nobody knows except Debora. And she's not telling. So, I mean, it's really, when we start the season, we start to get script outlines and we get an idea of what's going to happen. But, things change and evolve a lot when you're working in TV. And so scripts can change. And so it's really a very immediate, in the moment process.
So have you started prepping for season 4?
Yes, we have.
Oh, you have. Okay. And will you be going back to the UK and then?
I believe so.
Okay. So you get to work with your team again.
I hope so. I would love it.
Jenny, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all this with me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah. Now, aside from the Diplomat, is there anything else exciting that you're working on? Or maybe you worked on, because there's a bit of a gap, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, I have to say, the Diplomat is taking up so much of my time, happily, that no, I've been full-time Diplomat.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. I was going to say to you, I love the movie The East, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you know what I did? I went through a Brit Marling kind of binge. I binged all of her movies. Absolutely love them. But anyway, and you got to work with the wonderful Alexander Skarsgård.
Yes.
And Elliot Page. So that must have been a great experience.
Oh, it was. I mean, I it really was. It was very challenging. We were a lot of, as you've seen it. So it was very kind of rough, and but it was a good group, and it was a lot of fun. It really pushed me as a designer.
Oh, I hope you get to work with them again, because I mean, her career has done. She's gone like crazy. So
Yeah, that would be great.
I was really sad that the OA was canceled, because that was an amazing show too. So. Well, anyway, Jenny, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And anyway, and for everyone who's watching here, thanks for spending time with us. And have a great day, everyone.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I'm just going to end the recording here.
Okay.